Hello and welcome. Today we've got Ismael Perez, and today we are going to be discussing Earth's work involvement in the cosmic war, part 2. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, myself and Ismael can choose our words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Ismael, thank you for joining me, sir. How are you and what have you been up to since we last spoke?
Oh, I've been very busy. I'm actually working on so many projects right now. I have a network that wants to do a series of our cosmic origin and the endless war against, AI. And I have other projects where things are just, this information is actually reaching a lot of people, which is amazing. And I'm also working on adding a second chapter to my book, which is going to be a segue to the second book, our Cosmic Origin Volume 2, which should be ready in about 2 years. So I've been just staying busy.
So with that chapter that you're writing now, what is the key points that you would like to educate the people in your new chapter?
Well, my new chapter is going to start off into the idea that, with this war with this, I guess what we call invasive regressive alien AI has been going on for billions of years. And also how it ties into the entire information that I reveal in the first book, our Cosmic Origin. Because in the first book, I explained the galactic history, the different dimensions, the organization of cosmos, and Earth's place and relationship to the multiverse and how everything's just well organized. So in the second book, I discuss not only the AI war that's been going on for billions of years, but I'm also going to discuss a future scenario of what it's going to be like after the ascension of planet Earth and how the Earth is going to be at the epicenter and hub of the multiverse, which is going to be fascinating. We have a bright future ahead of us. Absolutely.
Now, I was listening to Dolores Cannon yesterday, and it was such a lovely clip, a video of a speech that I saw from her that I had to play it 3 times just to really grasp what, she was talking about. And it was amazing. What are your views on Dolores Cannon?
She is an instrument of light. From the beginning, I felt something positive coming from her. And through her technique that she developed, QHHT, she was able to access memories when she was doing, the regressions from people that were actually extraterrestrials in human form, or what we call starseeds. And to me, that was a breakthrough because, for the first time in our world, we had a chance to understand what a starseed was and the mission of a starseed. And it just so aligns with every other document, every other piece of information that I researched, as well as with the downloads and transmissions that I've been getting from the Galactic Federation myself. So it all lines up perfectly fine. So yeah, I think she's definitely an instrument.
So when you say that we're discovering what starseeds are, was Dolores Cannon referring to starseeds as the first and second wave, which she believes started just after the Second World War?
Absolutely, yes. She was referring to the first and second wave, but she also mentioned the third wave that has been coming in since 2000. Yeah.
Since 2000.
Yes.
Interesting. And what does she mean about when you have children, it creates karma? Can you explain that? Because I found that very interesting.
When a starseed has children?
Yes. So I think Dolores Cannon mentioned that when you have a lot of these second waves feel, and the first waves, they feel lonely. They're generators of energy, and they're here to do something, but they're not really here to do. They're here to just be, she said. So they could be at home or just walk through the mall, and they would just generate their energy that would influence and impact other people around them that they're just walking past. So, and these people, they like to generally, ironically, she says, they don't like people. They like to be isolated. They don't like the world. They've never liked their strong emotions, she says. and they end up usually not finding someone or having children, and that's because they're shielded from, they're shielded from their when they came here on Earth, they had these shields, protections, so that they don't have any karma, so that they don't come back on Earth because they're here to do a job and then leave and not come back. That's what I would like you to explain a bit more.
Sure. Okay. So the first part of the question is, yes, she's accurate. Starseeds act as anchor points of the photonic gamma ray energy that is coming through our sun from the galactic core via our sun in order to anchor in the higher frequency. So yeah, in the sense where just their mere existence was sufficient enough to raise the collective energy field of the planet. Now, the reason they don't want to accumulate any karma is because they've already completed the entire ascension process. They've already reached completion. In other words, they've already graduated. They've already fused and became one with Prime Creator Source. So in a way, they volunteered to return for this mission. Now, for the first and the second waivers, yes, their purpose was to merely exist, to uplift the collective energy of the planet. For the third waivers, it was a little different. For the third waivers now, which are in their 30s and 40s, and those are the ones that are supposed to be the key players in this revolution, in this great awakening. Not just their mere existence was sufficient, but also their works, because many of them are starting to remember their mission. Many of them are starting to understand that they're different, that they're here for a bigger purpose than just have a family, go to work from 9 to job, come home and repeat. So one of the things that the first waivers and the second waivers were able to do for the third waivers was set to the energetic grid for them to come in, because for the first and second waivers, it was very hard for them to fit in from the 60s, because they were born in the 50s and 60s. So even within the 70s and 80s, as they matured, it's almost like there were two different species. It was very hard for them to adapt and acclimate to the lower vibrational frequencies of this planet. So that makes perfect sense. They don't want to accumulate any karma because, they're just here for a mission and they want to return to where they came from. And then secondly, where am I getting here? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So they don't want to accumulate any karma, but at the same time, it's very hard for them to fit in. But at the same time, they laid the foundation for the third waivers, which act as the ground crew, the ground crew that is supposed to bring in this new heaven on earth. And so that is a way that we don't violate the prime directive of the Galactic Federation, because the Galactic Federation does have a prime directive, which means they cannot intervene in an underdeveloped world unless, the dark side had already infiltrated and they were heading in the wrong direction. And so the Starseed mission program really kicks in with the third waivers. The third waivers are the ones that are actually here to bring forth the changes, to act as catalysts towards this new world that we're all building collectively.
Interesting. Yeah. So the third waivers, when you say they're key players, do you believe that they are the alliance, the Galactic Federation, if you like?
Absolutely, yes. Because what comprises a great deal of the alliance is starseeds from the third waivers. A lot of them are very psychic. They're very genetically enhanced. They're already tapping into their galactic selves. So, and then a lot of them have been recruited as super soldiers. They were part of these, off-world programs. And some of them are even starting to get their memories back, which is awesome. So yeah, that's a good key of what comprises the alliance is the starseeds that are already in their 30s, 40s, and early 50s. Third waivers, that is.
So do you know personally anyone that remembers their past lives?
I haven't met anyone yet other than like people that I've been interviewed with or people that I've researched and stuff that actually are now coming forward with what they know. And these are whistleblowers that have also been involved in the secret space programs. But other than that, I have not yet another person met physically other than through the internet.
So that for those people that have children, which by the way, having children is a blessing. Okay. When Dolores Cannon says that it creates karma by nature, of course, what we give, what we get. What type of karma does it create? So for an example, if you're a starseed, you don't have children because you have this shield from creating karma. What happens to the starseed after it dies? And then what happens to a person that's here for school and they've gone through the process that the starseeds have gone through many thousands or millions of years ago when they were here for school, or another planet for school?
Well, to answer that part of the question is they get bored. That's why, in school, they kind of space out, they rebel. They really don't like to be part of the curriculum. And those are the rebels, by the way. Those are the ones that are normally the ones that are nonconformist. And as far as having children, the reason they don't want to have children is because, like I said, by leaving a progeny behind, they're going to be they're leaving a lineage behind that's going to allow them, that's going to compel them to continue incarnating through their lineage. Because the thing about it is that we are the accumulation of all our ancestry and all our descendants. So if we're already completed, if we've already fused with Prime Creator Source, and we come to this lower dimension out, why would we want to establish a seed that's going to lock us into that dimension, which means that it would cause that soul, again, when we incarnate here, it's just a fraction of our soul. We do have a central overall soul called the monad. Why would you leave a lineage here so that you could keep incarnating in a lower dimension? It just makes no sense. But that just only applied to the first and second waivers. But for the third waivers, it's different. The third waivers are allowed to have progeny because of the fact that this quantum leap in evolution that is going to transform the human species into the next stage of evolution, which I call metahuman or Homo galactus, is going to happen. And that's the reason why they could have progeny, because when this transformation takes place, it's no longer going to be locked into the lower dimensions, because they're going to be now existing in the fifth dimension and higher, which is better. Their bodies are going to go through a transformation, including their progeny. So that way they don't have to come back to the third dimension.
So where do you think, in your opinion and through your research, Jesus comes into this, when we look at our history?
Yes, Jesus is he's the incarnation of the universal logos. Well, we live in a conscious living universe. Everything from planets to stars to galaxies to the entire universe is a conscious sentient organism. And so Jesus is the incarnation of the logos, which is the mind of the cosmos coming into the flesh. He's also known as the creator son of our local universe of Nebadon, because we're part of a multiverse. Every multiverse has an overseer, an omni king with an omni queen. So in our local universe, Jesus is also Michael the archangel. They're one and the same. Michael the archangel is his warrior form. He's king of the heavenly host, and then Jesus is like his incarnated human form, but they're one and the same. So that's what Jesus is. Jesus is the incarnating omni king of our local universe. But you have to understand, because we do live in a multiverse, every local universe has a omni king and an omni king. So there are many Michaels, many Jesuses, each one overseeing a local universe.
So I believe that we are all the children of God. You are the son of God. I am the son of God. The viewers are the sons and daughters of God. Do you believe, of course, Jesus is the son of God too, but do you believe that Jesus is the son of God the way the Christianity teaches us, in respect of him being the incarnation of God, human incarnation of God?
No, the way Christianity teaches, it's very distorted, because they say in a way where it's only him, and that we are not the sons of God and daughters of God. But the truth of the matter is that even Jesus said, you are all children of the one. You're all children of one, of the God, and you are all gods, and you guys are going to do greater things in the future than myself. So I believe that we are all, like Jesus in a sense. And in that regard, since new universes are being created as I speak each day, about 10 according to my research, we're actually here as a training ground so that we could become overseers and omni kings and omni queens of different universes. So eventually, as we ascend, as we continue evolving, we become creator gods ourselves. So humans on the earth are actually in their training, in the training ground, in order to become creator gods in the future as we continue ascending. So we're all heading into that direction. And a lot of those creator sons of those local universes also experience a third dimensional Earth and in a prior universe in another Earth-like planet, where they had to experience mortality just like we do. And now they're, overseers of universes. So we're all heading into that direction as well.
Now, the official story of Jesus, in respect to him having children, he didn't have any children. Now, we don't know if that was hidden, if from the deep state, or if we've been lied to. I have no idea. But is it reasonable to assume that he did not have children because he was an ascended master, and that he didn't want to, he was shielded with what do you call it? The karma, so that karma doesn't happen to him. What do you think about that?
That is the biggest deception, in order that allowed organized religion to stay in power for over 2,000 years. One of the greatest secrets in the mystery school teachings is that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were actually wedded. When the Bible, when we read about the wedding of Canaan, he's actually talking about his own wedding to Mary Magdalene. And the only reason I believe that was that's what happened was because he was part of a secret society known as the Community of Qumran. And in the Community of Qumran, they practiced and initiated what was called the Melchizedek priesthood. So he was a high priest in the Melchizedek order. You could actually go back to Atlantis when we talk about like the good guys and stuff, the forces of light on the earth. So in a way, even him as the Omni King, Mary Magdalene representing the incarnation of the Omni Queen. Again, the overseer of our local universe. So they were supposed to have a progeny, because that's the progeny that now gave us all the Rh negative blood type people, which are the most advanced humans in the multiverse. In other words, their descendants were always, how can I say it? They were always a target by the Dark Brotherhood, which took over Rome. The organized, what we call, the Church of Rome. They've always tried to do away with their progeny, because they knew that according to the prophecies that their descendants would one day rise out, which is, by the way, connected to the White Hats. There is a bloodline association, and overthrow the Dark Empire in order to once again bring balance to the planet. So yes, I do strongly believe that they did have a progeny, and that progeny has been always associated with the White Hats, who actually existed all the way, throughout all of history, by the way. The White Hats just didn't appear miraculously within the last 30 to 50 years. They've always been around, because if that was the case, you realize we've already would have been under a fascist dictatorship. The plans to create this, NWO system of slavery could be traceable back to Babylon. If you want to, get technical, it goes back to 5,000 years ago. But technically, it goes back to Atlantis, when the forces of light lost one round to the forces of darkness, and then, of course, that gave, the rise of Babylon. And Babylon has always been the enemy of the Brotherhood of Light and their bloodline, which is the rival to the elite families. Yeah.
So that all of the star seeds and first wave, second wave, third wave. Do you believe that we all came from the future?
Yes, because from what I understand is, as we go higher into dimensions, there is no time. Things are taking place differently than just linear form. So yes, the higher dimensions correspond to the future. As we evolve into higher dimensions, we actually go into future versions of our realities. Yes. Right now, we're existing at the lowest level, which gives the illusion of a past and a future. But as we go into higher dimensions, it's all happening at once. So yes, we do come from the future, because we come from the higher dimensions.
I can never get my head around that. It's such a difficult, thing to understand, isn't it? How everything's happening simultaneously. Is there another way of trying to explain that in layman's terms for me to understand?
Well, it's very difficult to explain. The best way to explain it is that there's horizontal time and there is vertical time. So vertical time, horizontal time is what we see in linear form, where it's one segment. It's like a movie screen, one part after the other. Vertical time is time where you could see everything, the entire movie, not just each piece, all together as one. So that's, I guess, the analogy to explain how, at the highest levels of reality, time is all happening at the same time. And and the reason we actually came from the future was to alter the negative timeline, to secure the positive timeline, by the way.
So since we last spoke, what are the updates that you've got about what's happening now with the cosmic war with Earth and the other worlds and stuff like that? Whereabouts are we now? How are we progressing?
Oh my gosh! Just within the last few weeks, the AI god that was stationed in Orion in the star system of Alpha Draconis and the Thuban was actually taken out by the Cosmic Order of the Emerald, the Christed beings, who came from the central universe in order to clean house in order to give the Whiteheads the upper hand here on the planet. So now that the Dark Lord has been taken out and the entire galaxy is now secured, it's just a matter of it now, coming into play here in our world. And from what I understand, the Whiteheads and the Alliance also secured the Stargates that are built underneath Australia, and so they've already, which was a place where many people were taken in order to extract loosh. That's already been secured. They've already took out a lot of the negatives, regressives, and dark cabals that were associated with that. So a huge house cleansing is about to take place. You could say that the Whiteheads have completely checkmated the Darkheads. The Darkheads have nowhere to go, because we're receiving assistance from every level of reality, Nicholas, not just from the Galactic Federation, but from beings that are actually assisting us from higher levels of reality, to the point where in 2016, a ninth dimensional collective known as the Raw Collective intervened in order to put us in an emergency bubble, emergency rescue bubble, in order to protect the Stargates so that nothing could come in and allow a healthy ascension to take place. And so, yeah, we don't have nothing to worry about. And not even the CERN scenario that everybody's, buzzing about these days. Yes, the Whiteheads are also in control of CERN. So I think that this whole idea of, rumoring that they're about to open up a portal, they're going to rank it up to its highest speed, and anything could happen. They could let something in that is very nefarious, and that would be the end of life on Earth. But I could assure you that that's part of their way of making us think of throwing us back into the negative timeline. But that's not going to happen. That's all part of the scare tactics.
So what does a Stargate actually look like if we were to look at it?
You know what? They actually look, it all depends. If they're natural Stargates, they actually just open up similar to the way we see it in the movie. I just saw Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, how they open up the gates and then they're able to go from one realm to the next, or from one universe to the next? That's how the Stargates look. In some cases, they're actually built on a vortex, like a megalithic structure, such as Stonehenge, Absbury, and stuff like that. And then what they do is they activate those by using advanced tachyon technology, and that opens up the gate, because those are actually centered right under vortex. And it opens up the gate and we go right through it. And, we could go to any part of the galaxy, any part of the universe, or any other universe, once you plug in the coordinates, of course.
So do you think that the Stargates here on Earth will be used for good purposes after the ascension?
Yes, it's going to be used for interplanetary, intergalactic, and interuniversal travel. Because after the ascension, which is going to be followed from, after EBS, Nicera and Gessera kick in, and then, of course, the disclosure, making first contact with our space brethren, then all the advanced interplanetary technology is going to be used for beneficial purposes. Because as I speak right now, all the galaxies are actually coming together in our solar system. They're establishing what is known as an intergalactic super federation of galaxy councils. And what they're doing is they're preparing the star seeds to be at the head of that council. So from that one, after we ascend and after we become the head of the councils, the star seeds are actually going to be in charge of multiple galaxies from this Earth, as this Earth becomes now, the epicenter of the multiverse. So great things are in store for us. Our mission actually is twofold. Our mission is to help bring in this new reality, as well as to be the leaders in the new heavens, as Earth becomes now the epicenter. So that's what's happening right now.
Interesting. Now, we know that the media is very, very naughty and corrupt. And, when they're pointing the finger at someone in a negative light, we know that, they're most likely to be good people. And we know one of those people is Donald Trump. I hope. And I think so. And what type of information do you get about Donald Trump when you are channeling through your means of sources?
He's actually, how can I say it? He's been time traveling. I don't know if you know the Tesla connection to his uncle. Okay, so they're all part of the same lineage. They're all interrelated, going back to the descendants of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. But the Trumps have been time traveling since the 1960s, by the way. And that's how they were able to see probable realities to make sure that they were able to secure the right one. So they're already using advanced stellar technology. They have the best protection on the planet. They are working closely with the commanders of the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds. And, they're very, how can I say it? The Trumps are very involved in the galactic community. It's just that they're not allowed to speak about it until the disclosure takes place. So yeah, they're very well protected. We have nothing to worry about. Mr. T is coming back, and he's coming back with the vengeance. Vengeance. I shouldn't say that.
No, I know what you mean though. I asked Michelle Fielding once. I said to her, "What if Donald Trump here is a psyop? He's playing the other side. What if?" And she goes, "No, Nick. I can tune into people's consciousness and their energy, and he's not that energy." She was very certain, very, very certain about that. So, and she's been right on many occasions about things, for an example, when Biden was, before he was inaugurated, she said that Trump would step down, not step back, not step down, but he would step back, but he would still be in power. But Biden would be inaugurated, and she was right. And then Meta came along 5 months after she mentioned that Facebook, would rebrand in a way where there was a rebranding there. She mentioned there's so many things. So when she says that about Trump, I mean, she sounds very certain, and that gives me a lot of peace because I like Trump. I'm a big fan of Trump. Now, I was going to ask you another question. I interviewed Gene Ho, the photographer of Donald Trump, and he was also a photographer of the Trump family, and he's also a friend of the Trump family. And I asked him a lot of questions, and a lot of the time he said, I can only answer what I know. So I said, okay, well, what do you know? What can we say 100% that you know? And one of the things that he was 100% about was that Donald Trump is going to return. And you're saying the same thing. So why do you believe that Donald Trump will return as the president, or if as the president of the United States, or in another way? How do you think he will return?
Because he never stopped being the president. He's the constitutional representative of the republic, So what happened here is the same scenario that took place during the Civil War. There's two forms, two governments. One is the official republic, the official constitutional republic led by Trump in the military, and the other one is the fake government that's hijacked the right. So what we're seeing here is that Trump's still our president. The only people that are making Biden look like the president is the media. That's it. But in actuality, Trump's still running the show from behind the scenes. And that's why he's working closely with other White Hat members, such as, Mr. Russia, to, bring down all the different structures. And that's why they did what they did in the Ukraine a few months ago. That's just the beginning. Australia's next. And then after that, it's just going to go global. It's just going to go global. So yeah, Mr. T is also associated with the Pleiadians, the benevolent extraterrestrials that have been assisting us for thousands of years. In fact, this might sound a little too far-fetched, but many believe that his wife is actually a Pleiadian commander, and she's there to protect him. And even though she seems to be, like cold at times, it's because she's playing the part. She's playing a role. She doesn't want to give herself away that she's actually a Pleiadian in human form.
So do you believe that if that's the case, that Melania is a Pleiadian and she's protecting Trump and she's playing a role, do you believe that her state of consciousness today, she remembers who she is before she came here?
Yes, I do.
And do you believe, how about Trump? Do you believe he may remember?
I think as more and more, since 2016, I think he's been more informed about, the greater picture. But before that, I do believe that he always had some inclination of what was happening. It's almost like the White Hats were preparing him to come to the world stage in 2016. So in a way, it was all planned based on this time travel technology that his uncle inherited from Tesla. Yeah.
Do you think there will be an EBS, or do you think it would be just a very gradual disclosure as people wake up slowly?
Oh no, it's going to be shocking. The EBS will happen. The reason being is because, humanity's at a crossroad. If we don't have any intervention now, we're not going to make it in the next till 2030, the way things are going. So they have to intervene. And from what I understand is they are intervening. It's an operation that took many, many years. You have to understand, Nicholas, they've been abducting over 100,000 children a year for, since the 1950s to be part of this underground experimentation where they're, extracting loot, right, in order to feed their alien overlords. It's been taking the White Hats and the Alliance many, many years to actually clear that up, because there's millions and millions upon millions of children that they have, recuperated and facilitated and brought back to health. Of course, not, those that didn't die, many, passed away, but we're talking about millions of children. So that operation took many, many, many years. But from what I understand is that they're done. Once they cleared the Stargate that was allowing the negatives to harness Loosh, which has a connection. That Stargate was created by the negatives in Mars. In the inside of the planet Mars, the Draco have civilization. So they were connecting that Stargate to a deep underground facility in Australia. But that connection has already been severed by the Galactic Federation and the Alliance. So we're just waiting for the big reveal.
I see. Wow. So what do you think after the ascension? What do you think all that will look like? Our day-to-day lives and even the way we see things from our eyes.
It's going to be like day and night. The world is going to be restored back to the natural, its natural habitat. The atmosphere is going to be cleansed. The oceans, the ecosystem is going to be purified, like with no pollution or anything. The smog and, these cities are not going to be the way they exist right now. They're going to be, made out of a different type of material that is actually healthier for the environment. They're going to be very futuristic. So the next question would be, well, how fast are we going to build that after the transition? Well, the thing is that as we ascend, as we go into the fifth dimensional Earth, that Earth is already coexisting with this one. And so that has a whole new different reality structure than this one. So when the transformation takes place and we reach fourth and fifth dimension, we're actually just going to be translated from one level of reality to the next. So it's going to already be there for us. We're just going to realize that we are in a better world, that is more suitable for all living things.
So what is this about? They're making oil and gasoline prices very expensive. And I think they want to encourage people to go for the electric cars. What's the agenda behind this? Because we know that the batteries also pollute the air when they burn them or something like that. So what do you think all the politics and the narrative is behind gasoline and electric cars?
That's all coming to an end. Yeah,
both of them.
Everything. Yes, exactly. That's all going to be destroyed when the purging takes place and we become translated into the new Earth reality. In the new Earth reality, we use free energy technology to power up our homes, to I guess move around in hover cars. Everybody has a hover car in the higher dimensional Earth. So all that stuff is coming to an end. We're going to have the technologies that are about to be revealed to the planet are, oh my God, many people are just going to be like stoked about it. So
how many years are we away from this?
I predicted no later than 2024. So let's just, given the fact that the EBS kicks in soon, by no later than the fall, I think July, August, perhaps, I would have to say by 2024, the Earth will already be part of the fourth and fifth dimension and reinstated back into the galactic community. And we are going to be openly interacting with many, many races from all over the galaxy and beyond.
Will they just appear to be here with us?
Yes, because once we shift into the fourth or fifth dimension, the veil's going to be lifted like that. And ships are going to be everywhere. People are going to see Pleiadians walking among them, Lyrians, Arcturians. It's just going to go back to the way it was before the fall of consciousness into this lower reality that happened after Atlantis. Yeah.
Will we still be interested in interbreeding? Making children and having families at that point?
Of course, yeah, yeah. Extraterrestrials have families too. It's just the higher you go in reality, the faster the birthing process is. So, for instance, Pleiadians in the fourth and fifth dimension, who are we're part of that 52 cluster of stars. Their gestation process is only 3 months. After 3 months, they give birth because it's at a higher level of reality using crystalline DNA as well. The process speeds up. So kids are born faster and then they mature faster. So yes, we're still going to have kids, except it's just going to be much better. For the women, the birthing pains aren't going to be there anymore.
Is it normal for extraterrestrials to feel sexual desires as we do here as humans on Earth?
Yes, sexuality exists all the way to the sixth dimension, at least. Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Yeah,
Tell me more.
That's how the galactic community is able to procreate and continue the continuation of galactic humans. And then beyond the six dimensions, our bodies are just pure ether. There is no more carbon-based matter. It's all crystalline and beyond. And then after the ninth dimension, our bodies become hydroplasma. And then after the 12th dimension, we become pure light energy. At that point, we encase nothing. We're just everywhere at once.
Like God, right?
Like God. Yeah, we become one with God. Yeah, exactly. And that's where we're all heading, by the way. It doesn't matter if you're a starseed or a Terran, newbie soul. The difference is that the starseeds are going to right away go into the higher dimensions because that's where they came from, right? They've already graduated. And the newbie souls are just going to be ascending in increments at a time. Yeah.
Wow. Very interesting, Ismael Perez. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Just that, don't buy into any negative agendas, scare tactics, such as a fake alien invasion. All that stuff that was part of the negative timeline has been canceled. Project Bluebeam, it's all been canceled. What's happening now is our Earth is getting prepared for first contact with the Galactic Federation, following disclosure, of course, and the restoration of the Republic and the new world, system of Commonwealth of Nations, which is actually led by the Alliance, by the way. So that's like their version of the NWO. It's going to be called the new world, the new Commonwealth of Nations. That's going to be the new system, by the way. Yeah, don't buy into the negative stuff. Just remember that our thoughts are co-creating reality. So they're trying to use the collective thought to shift it back to the negative timeline. But that's not going to work because the forces of light have already secured the positive timeline. And I could assure you that CERN has already been taken over by the Alliance. So we don't have nothing to worry about on the 5th of next month.
Well, thank you very much, Ismael. And we'll speak very soon in 4 weeks' time. So everyone tune in, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Nicholas Veniamin, and Ismael Perez will speak very soon. And God bless you and thank you. Bye-bye.
Likewise. Thank you. Bye.